The life story of Nathan Liriano. It all started back in my freshman year of high school when my parents found out about the dual enrollment program. The dual enrollment program is a program in which you attend high school and college at the same time. And my parents nagged me to take it and nagged me. And after months of nagging, during that summer, I took my first class. The class was called New Student Experience. At first, I really didn't want to take the course, but as the class progressed, it got more interesting. And one day we were assigned a paper on our purpose. At first, I was really confused because I really didn't know my purpose. But that day I took a nap, and in that nap I had a dream in which my parents lost both their jobs and they couldn't pay any of their bills. And that's when I realized that my purpose in life is to provide and help other people. This led me to choose a career in which I help people feel little to no pain during surgery. I chose to become an anesthesiologist. After that, in high school, I continued to do dual enrollment and graduated with an AA senior year. I knew that to become an anesthesiologist, it took years and years and years of schooling. But I knew there was a shortcut because in Harvard University, they have an MD Bachelor dual program in which I can get both in just 6 years. And since I already had an AA, it would only be 4 years. Although it was a shortcut, it came at an expensive cost because Harvard costs over $64,000 a year with tuition, room and board, supplies, and books. That was a lot of money. And unfortunately, when it comes to grad school, there just aren't enough scholarships. And my grants from the government couldn't cover it. So, I was forced to take out a federal loan. But I knew that once I finished and I started residency, I would move back into my parents. And then during residency, I would use all the money I got to pay back my loans. And within 2 years at residency, I finished paying back all my loans. In the last 2 years of residency, I used the money to help my parents and I started saving. Afterwards, I was a certified anesthesiologist and I started searching for work. I found an excellent hospital in Phoenix, Arizona, so I gave my goodbyes and I was off. On my first day at the job, I introduced myself to everyone and had a conversation with the senior anesthesiologist. He said that he's been working there for over 30 years. He was very skilled at what he's done. He's had every type of patient. And he said the most important part of being an anesthesiologist is being focused because you have people's lives in your hands. An anesthesiologist is the person that determines how much anesthesia is needed to put a person to sleep during surgery. If I put even a little bit too much, they might die. To be an anesthesiologist, you have to be precise and focused. During surgery, I stay in the room and monitor the patient's blood pressure and other things. I had a cousin called Omar. He was an anesthesiologist, and back when I was still taking the NSC class, I interviewed him. He told me about the dual degree program that they had at Harvard. He even told me a fast way to pay back the loans. Omar helped me a lot and he helped me formulate a path to become an anesthesiologist. But I didn't want to stop there. I didn't just want to be an anesthesiologist. I knew what I really wanted to be was the owner of a hospital. So I had a talk with the owner of the hospital that I currently work at. And he told me that a huge part to becoming the owner comes with a lot of money. And one way to get a lot of money is through making investments. So I started making little investments here and there. I started doing my research on stock markets and cryptocurrencies. I was making little return, but I was also making little investments. And once I got the hang of it, I started making huge investments. And one of the biggest investments I made got me lots of return, but I still don't have enough to own a hospital. And one day I was speaking to the owner of the hospital, and he told me that once I get a little bit more saved up, that he will co-sign and own the hospital with me. I know that in the coming years I will be a hospital owner, and I can truly say I'm successful.